Thaddeus McCotter from the House Financial Services Committee, who is here to join us on this unbelievable and very eventful evening. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. Please update us on what the very latest are in the developments. I understand there was a meeting this afternoon. What can you tell us?
Well, Ms. Glick, I think first, your show has put out the stakes in the global economy for what's happening now and why it is imperative that the United States Congress get it right. I think that what you're seeing in Congress, despite heated remarks by the Speaker regarding patriotism and others, is that we have to continue to keep our heads and show responsible progress towards the proper solution. All members of both sides of the parties, both sides of the House and Senate, we understand there's a crisis, we understand there's a need for congressional action, and we want to make sure, as you've seen with Republicans coming back to the table, that we do the appropriate thing by the U.S. taxpayer and by the financial markets here in the U.S. and abroad. And as long as those talks are continuing, I think, in showing responsible progress, I think smart investors will wait to see what the U.S. government does, because it is going to do something, and we hope that it is pro-taxpayer and responsible and addresses the needs of the markets.
Okay, Congressman, at this hour in the developments, define progress for me, because at last I heard there were 15 sticking points at a minimum. What kind of progress have you made?
Well, I think the progress is they're discussing these critical points. Alexis, as you know, this is the first great economic panic of the new global economy. It is not lost upon members of the House and Senate the imperative to set the proper precedent so that we aren't just delaying a darker problem down the road. So as long as members are concerned and sitting at that table talking to each other and showing that they are willing to engage and willing to keep working around the clock until this issue is addressed and legislation comes out that can be voted into law, that is progress. And I think it is also important to remember that when you hear, again, people saying things outside, that is normal frustration of a very important legislative process. It shows that the parties are engaged. The Speaker Pelosi is engaged.
Right.
The House Republicans and Senate Republicans are engaged. So the fact that frustration overflows is evidence that they are earnestly addressing this issue in a critical fashion.
All right, just quickly, Congressman, you know, you've said it's irresponsible to put a deadline on this deal. And, you know, look, the markets are expecting that something's going to occur by tomorrow night. Is that unrealistic?
I don't know if it's unrealistic or not. I think I advocated that we not make predictions for precisely the reasons that you're laying out. We had earlier heard that Tuesday was drop dead. Friday was potentially dead. What people, responsible people, want to do is keep their heads, keep moving forward on legislation in a timely fashion that will address this crisis. The worst thing we can do to any investor is raise expectations of a deal that Congress will pass and either A, not meet our own artificial deadline, or B, fail to pass bad legislation. That is when trouble will occur.
All right, Congressman McCotter.
Even more immediately than now.
All right, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this evening. Let me send it back to Brian in Washington, D.C. He's got